Всем привет, это как всегда Игорь, мы продолжаем прохождение, приятного просмотра. Прыска.
I have this thirst for blood.
Не туда нужно, да? Когда не теряем времени. Не заново резнулись. Кушаем. Отходим. Это мощный какой. Не стреляют. Что, цель исчезла? Я ее не ставил снова. Чего он меня сбил с ног? Вы перескочил это. О, у меня вообще закончилось уже. Не, выносливый закончился. Думаю, чего он не бьет? Чего? Куда ты полетел? Сумку взять хотел. Где сумка? Я немного лекарств сделал. Ну, я для себя 2 сделал. И одно от переутомления, и все. Смысл все записывать. То есть я ночь провожу, а они по новой все рисуются. Я когда ролик монтировал, вспомнил про то, что как тайно проходить. Тут же есть возможность тенью становиться. Точно. Так и надо, наверное. Я тогда где лутаться буду? Кусай. Ну, у меня крови полно. Отходим. Ты от него отходи. Выносливость надо. Выносливость надо восстанавливать. Нормальная дубина. И хоть и медленнее дерешься, она с ног сбивает, я кусать могу. Ой, как далеко появился, то есть они вообще все рисуются.
I cannot enter.
Ну ладно, да, я же здесь шел, да? Состояние района тяжелое. Я думаю, это обход, нет? Еще и Патрики нашел. Чем плохо только двухручное оружие, то что я во второй руке ничего не могу носить.
It's locked.
И сюда. Кто-то болтает. Мрачненько здесь. Класс. О, тоже в маске. Просто к боевке надо привыкнуть больше. Вау. А ты кто?
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reid, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reid.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Торговать можно, прикольно.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Нет подсказок, нет подсказок.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Мне 160. Это одна штука стоит 18 монет. Так дорого-то. Бальзам. Список ингредиентов на латыни. Тут нет, можно забрать на части. Да я лучше полутаюсь. А нет, там еще же что-то было, да?
Good evening.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Я, может, ей что-нибудь продать могу? Оружие и детали. Вот она умная. Продает по 18, покупает по 3. Молодец. А, я вон могу и часы всякие продавать, да? Так уже лучше. Маленькая бутылка. Сигар. Флакон духов. Подготовить. Страница на продажу. Предмет можно забрать на части. Оружие ей продавать нельзя. У меня же много всякого ненужного оружия. Ну, то есть тут будут магазины. Ну, это и так было понятно, когда монеты начали собирать. Монеты же не просто так дают. Вот он сейчас опять начал бегать, а в прошлой части, когда я без шифта давил вперед, он просто шел очень медленно. Просто постоянно на шифт давить, это же расходуется выносливость не очень хорошо.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Расследовать действия. Как не расследовать действия? А город большой. Может, это по первому впечатлению он большой? Да не, он не маленький, правда. Я где-то монеты пропустил, или это обозначение, что там торговать можно, я даже прочитал. Нет, слишком дорого она все продает. За одну штуку по 18 монет отдавать. Я проще могу ходить, выходить в морг и там лутаться, убивать, лутаться. Кто-то в дверь стучится. А как мне это обойти? Не пугай. Расследовать действия. Да я не понял, как расследовать. Я уже вообще куда-то убегаю в другую сторону. Я не смогу так оббежать. Я не вижу, куда мне.
There's nobody here.
А я могу подслушать. А он куда-то ушел. Это он в другую дверь стучал. Я думаю, кто там стучит? Это он и стучал, мне сюда надо подойти. А, во, и появилась.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
It's locked. I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Мы идем болтать с журналистами, поэтами. Свободно тут ходит. Ты кто?
Welcome, sir. Please take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr.
Товар.
Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah, A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Вампиры.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Прям хороший.
Right then. Show me what you have.
А, ну она, значит, не она скормила. Может, тот просто случайно туда пошел. Оборотни имею в виду. Стой. Что это такое? Часть рукояти, которая пригодится при сборке рукояти любого оружия для левой руки. Мини осколок с который можно использовать как плашки для улучшения. Рукоять, которая пригодится при сборке обычной рукояти или любого оружия ближнего боя. Джо Питерсон, это вот вымогатель, да?
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Rid, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Most people don't become thugs when unemployed. This is a choice you made.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
То есть можно вот этого и продавца сожрать. Я только хороших не буду жрать.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
А как его увести?
You again?
А, вон гипноз. А, у меня первый уровень, а требуется третий. То есть я и не могу их гипнотизировать. Надо прокачиваться. Я этого и этого сожру. Уже 2900 за одного дают, за этого 2400. Ни хрена себе. Тебе сколько надо?
You never lose your folk.
4-й уровень.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Я их сожру. Тот вышибал, и этот хотел лекарство, которое бесплатно отдают, он хотел ими торговать.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Rid.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now.
Sir, streets are a battlefield too. An invisible and untold war is going on, and it must be stopped.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Короче, мне надо в первую очередь... Сейчас будут очки давать, я буду поднимать гипноз. Потому что тут много плохих людей, их надо всех жрать. Может и хороших. Потому что по столько очков дают за одного сожранного, то что ты прокачаешься просто на раз-два.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I must confess, some of my rational views have been shaken by recent events.
I'll remember to stay away from the district's roughest streets then.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darrius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nivicott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Найти почтовый ящик. А ты чего мне скажешь?
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are
quite a...
But you...
Я же уже это все послушал.
I have heard...
Эй, стой!
Good evening.
It's far...
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
So you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Не знаю, мне интересно тут разговоры все. Если мне было бы неинтересно, соответственно, я бы этого бы не делал. Да, мы зачем прилетели? Я думал, здесь может убежище. Мне это интересно, и это еще и нужно. Букет, небольшой букет, в котором спрятан купон на бесплатный медосмотр. Мы же о других людях все узнаем еще. А вот письмо Дариуса Петреску. Это вот то, что он разорвал и выкинул, да? Мои дорогие, горячо любимые дети, мне так жаль, что у вас несколько месяцев не было вести от меня. В Лондоне сложная ситуация. Я знаю, что могу показаться эгоистом и дураком. Вам, мои дети, ведь вы все еще живете в стране, где идет война. Но здесь в Англии тоже идет война. Война с бедностью и несправедливостью. Это война, в которой я намереваюсь участвовать, несмотря на свой преклонный возраст. Вот почему я пишу вам сегодня. В Румынию я не вернусь. Это означает, что, вероятно, я вас больше не увижу. Не грустите, мои милые, ведь вы уже взрослые, у вас свои дети. Вы знаете, на какие жертвы нужно идти, чтобы изменить мир. Вот жертву, которую должен принести я, чтобы снова почувствовать себя нужным. Желаю вам жить долго и счастливо. Поцелуйте от меня моих внуков и помните, что отец любит вас, даже когда находится в этой холодной стране. Любящий вас отец Дариус Петреску.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter.
Я же чем больше узнаю о других, тем мне больше очков дадут, когда их слопают. Вот как раздают.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Как раздают эти бесплатные купоны.
I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well.
Много она рассказала. Нет, не туда. Не туда, ну... Туда я тут пройти не могу, да? Нет, тут даже возможности нет зайти. Прохода есть, а тайников нет. Ладно, топаем. А может мне все-таки там... Ну ладно, короче, не знаю. Попробую так обойти. Если не обойду, пойду там, где прошел. Не, все-таки сюда. Зачем я цапаю? Кусай, 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 кусай. Да я же двойку раньше нажал, ну что это за обман? Да, они даже отбиваться умеют. Двойка не сработала. Блин. Я неудачно с ним держусь. Все подряд давлю и никто, чтобы крови потратить. Ладно, нормально. Ну, по 4 дают. Смысл закупаться, когда столько дают с лута. По 18 монет за одну штуку покупать. Это кошмар какой-то. Лучше деньги буду копить, потом что-то нужное куплю. Неудачный бой. Ладно, кровь есть, нормально. Тут я никого не вижу.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reid. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for the city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly peaceful silence.
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave. You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear doctor.
I understand your need for solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much, and that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles and the added hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox. The stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious Camellia.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
It may be wise to let you prescribe me something. I don't feel like I should.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
Это все задал, так вот это.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darrius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
Да, если тут всех сейчас начать жрать, мне за них много дадут. Мне их надо гипнотизировать и уводить куда-нибудь в темное место, а не просто жрать. Я же не могу просто их сожрать. Этого тоже можешь сожрать. Все равно неадекват какой-то. И большинство странные, так что можно большинство сожрать. Да не, вот этих я двоих точно покажу. Вот этих вот. Они мне не нравятся. Но я не сразу буду. Пока я могу проходить, вот я как вчера говорил в ролике, то что читал обзор в стиме, то что пишут, то что сначала проходишь по-доброму, если идешь. Нормально все вытягиваешь. Пока тянешь проходить, а потом в какой-то момент тебя начинает валить. И все, и ничего сделать не можешь, типа мощности не хватает. Но я об этом точно не знаю, то что пока я буду по-доброму проходить, а если не смогу по-доброму проходить, буду вот таких вот, ну, которых примечаю, потом пожираю и прокачаю.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again? Go away.
Надо гипноз прокачать.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right. Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see, Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.
Мне нравится. Я уже настолько привык играть во всякие игры, где бежишь, сюжета мало, а здесь в основном расследование, сюжеты, что ты выясняешь, истории слушаешь. Класс, мне нравится. Хожу наглую, лутаюсь. Дневник Калаки. Древние Калаки. Читаю дневник. Читать.
It's locked.
Закрыто. Где ключ? Ключ давай, мужик. Наверное, если его сожрать, мне ключ надо, да? А вот так хожу по правде, лутаюсь, деньги собираю. Он стоит, смотрит. Молодец. И... Аж здесь было. Нужно их обобрать. Мне это все нужней. О, 6 этого, 6 этого. А так по 18 монет за каждый. И этого 6. Как много у них тут всего. Значит, тут амбар, блин. Это домик. Я наверняка еще что-нибудь и пропустил, да? Ладно, идем. Так много набрал. Наверняка на 2-й этаж. Нужна помощь.
What do we have here, nurse?
Patient Raz Van Vasily. High fever running on 3 days. Complaints of dizziness, muscle aches, and head pain, diagnosed with influenza.
Treatment?
Aspirin and salicin for the fever and discomfort, liquids for dehydration, but he's having trouble keeping even water down.
Thank you, nurse. Anything else I should know?
He did lose consciousness this morning, but he's never had convulsions like these.
He's not convulsing, he's choking. He's not getting any air. Scalpel! Hand me that scalpel!
What can I do, Doctor?
I need to perform a tracheostomy. Short pipe. That rubber tube will do. We're going to cut a passage for air through the neck.
Yes, Doctor.
Да просто он за это время может задохнуться, пока обезболивающие дадут.
Internal hemorrhaging. I need to make another incision into the chest cavity to drain the fluids from the lung. Prepare another tube.
A thoracostomy? Doctor, we've nothing to fight the infection. We need an aseptic environment.
Right then, Nurse Crane. What do you suggest we do?
I've no idea. I'm not the doctor.
Time is of the essence. We need to perform a thoracic drain.
Yes, Doctor. He's still bleeding, Doctor. I'm losing his pulse.
The drain must have punctured the intercostal artery. There's too much blood.
Are you all right, Doctor?
I can't see.
Кушать хочет он.
I must first suture the artery. Find the wound. The source of the blood.
Needle and thread, Doctor.
Good. The stitches are holding. How's he doing?
We're losing him. We've lost his pulse. He's dying, Doctor.
A dose of epinephrine, now.
Yes, Doctor.
Не спасли, не спасли. Я не знаю, можно было его спасти или нет.
He's gone, Doctor.
Nurse, we did everything we could.
Truly? Everything you could? Is that how you'll report this in your log? Is this how the war went? Piling up one poor corpse beside the next?
This was not an influenza-induced seizure. I've never seen symptoms like these on the continent.
Neither have I. But the previous symptoms leading up to this attack were the same, indistinguishable from the epidemic.
No. There was something more vile in these reactions. Something primitive.
There have been numerous reports of mental breakdowns caused by the fever that accompanies the flu itself, Doctor.
Yes, but I'd best take some samples of the blood for analysis.
I doubt you're here to test my bedside manners.
Нет, мы сейчас разговаривать уже не будем.
To what do I owe this courtesy?
It's locked.
Мы сейчас разговаривать уже не будем, мы будем сейчас заканчивать.
This is an unfitting place for the illustrious Dr. Reed. You shouldn't be here.
Как скажешь, зря так зря. Я не знаю, можно было его спасти? Наверное, нет. Скорее всего, нет, все равно погиб. Ладно, давайте будем заканчивать. Игра сохранилась. Надеюсь, я появлюсь прям здесь. Отстань. Появлюсь, надеюсь, здесь. Поговорим с ней и пойдем дальше, куда нам там нужно. А сейчас давайте закончим. Всем спасибо за просмотр. Пока-пока.